Hey, hello guys. What I'm doing here is I'm making videos for the content that we've already covered in class. So, what this one right here is the very first video we went over. Excuse me, the very first information we went over last week. So on Monday, I believe, of last week. So I'm gonna get through this video as quickly as I can. So I'm not putting the notes on the stuff that you should remember for this. You should already have these notes. This is just reference for you to so you can remember how to do the problems. So we're gonna go ahead and get started here. So when dealing with vectors, okay, we want to do 3u plus v. So 3 times u, which is 2 and negative 1, plus v, which is 5 and 3. So I'm going to multiply first. 6, negative 3, plus 5 and positive 3. Okay, and now I can deal with the operation. So plus. Remember, I add x with x, y with y. So this is in component form, and remember, if I want to find it in linear form, is just 11i plus 0j, which I don't have to write the 0j. Okay. So moving on, we'll only do this first one, and I think in the notes we only did this one anyway. Find the rectangular coordinates due to these, with these polars. Okay, and remember, I know that this is polar because of the pi, or because of the degree sign. So these are polar. I want to make them rectangular. So two equations. X is equal to r cosine theta. Y is equal to r sine theta. Okay, so here it's just, remember the first number is r and this is theta, so it's just 3 times cosine of pi over 3. 3 times sine of pi over 3. So I'm going to grab a unit circle here. Just remember, if I'm looking at pi over 3, it's right here. I have the x and the y. Remember, this is the cosine and the sine. So instead of cosine pi over 3, I'm going to write 1/2, and instead of cosine, sine pi over 3, I'm going to write square root of 3 over 2. So this becomes 3 times 1/2. And this one becomes 3 times square root of 3 over 2. And once I simplify, this becomes 3/2, and this one becomes 3 square root of 3 over 2. Okay, so just remember, we need to write this as if it's a point. So this is my final answer right here. And if I needed to reduce, if I could reduce, then I would. Okay, so I had a lot of you asking me about this question when we were doing the reviews. So just remember, guys, here I have a parametric equation. So two equations, one for x, one for y. And here I have the t values that it's in between. So what I'm going to do, if I'm going to graph it, I'm going to make a table. T, and since I'm going from -1 to 1, we'll go -1, 0, and 1. Now just remember, you do not have to put every single value in between these two. Okay, so like on the practice problem you had, like from -3 to 3, just choose a number in between. Okay, it doesn't have to be -3, -2, -1, 0. It's like, just choose something in between. 0 works. Okay, So now I'm going to use my x equation. Oops, there's a minus 1. Okay. And all I do is I plug in the t values in here. So this is going to be negative 3 times negative 1 minus 1. So this becomes 3 positive 3 minus 1, which is negative 2. And I'm going to continue. So negative 3 times 0 minus 1. So this is negative 1. And excuse me, this is a positive 2, not a negative 2. Negative 3 times positive 1 minus 1. So this is negative 3 minus 1, negative 4. And I'm going to do the same for the y values, for the y equation. So just keep this in mind, guys. I'm plugging in the t value, not the x that I just found. So this is negative 1 squared, which is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Negative 4, and last one here is negative 1 as well. So I'm going to go ahead and plot these points. So this is my x, this is my y, so 2 and negative 1. Negative 1 and negative 4, so down here, and the last point, negative 4, negative 1. So this is a curve that looks like this. Okay, now next one, eliminating the parameter. So again, I have an x equation, a y equation. I want to make it into one. So you're always going to take the x equation and you solve for t. Minus 1, minus 1. Okay, and now that I know what t equals, I plug it into the y equation. So 2 times x minus 1, so I'll distribute 2x minus 2. Looks like that. So this is my final answer. I made those two equations into one. Okay, so last one here. This is the last one we went over in the notes as well. Plotting points, guys. So remember, you're going to start with the degree, or the angle, I should say. So here, remember, these is the r, this is theta. So you go to 120 degrees, you go to the center, and then here I go 1 out. Go to pi over 3, go back to the center, and this one's telling me to go 2 out. So I go 1, 2, negative 45. So remember, when the angle is negative, I'm going to go to 45. Negative 45 is down here. So I'm going to go to the center, and then I go 1, 2, 3 out. So when my angle's bigger than what I see here, guys, so this is degrees, so I'm going to go 420 minus 360, which equals 60 degrees. So what I'm really looking for is 4 and 60. So here, go to 60. Then I go 1, 2, 3, 4 out. That's point D. And just as a bonus here, if I do 5, negative 5, and let's say 30 degrees. So I would go to 30, go to the center, and since the r is negative here, you move the opposite direction. So 30, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be the last point. Okay, so again, guys, study and look for the other videos.